Denver beating Geralt 2-1 and Bly 2-0. And Ziggy stealing a map off of Mana earlier. So, Grant, I think this is going to be a lot closer than the results may otherwise indicate.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there, mate. I think this one could be very, very interesting. We're due for some explosive games, certainly. For now, though, our players in the southeast of Lightshade with a personal sponsorship from Coca even. He is the Blue Zerg player from France. It's Denver.
I thought you were going to go for the full French pronunciation
Not
of the
a
team
chance.
name, and I was real excited for you. And spawning in the top left-hand side with objectively the worst skin in the game on his command center, it is our red. I couldn't help it, sorry. It is our red Polish Terran player, currently teamless.
It's finally coming down here, but behind us, everything standard for Ziggy. He is getting all of his tack options. Nice grenade here. He does look like he's finally going to lose a few. Going to jump back up. I'm not so sure about that. That should be the end of this pressure now, as Denver going to try and look for a counter-attack. But how many Marines are at the other side of the map? There are 5. There's a siege tank sieging up. It's just everything necessary right now for Ziggy to just move on with his game plan.
Yeah, Z obviously just a little bit behind here, forced to drop that luxury high-rise supply depot. Finally, we'll clean up these Reapers, though, which is really nice. But don't be fooled by that army supply graph, guys. 25 army supply to 14. 1 or 2 good tank shots can absolutely stop these Banelings from getting anything done. There's only 1 tank out right now, which means he will need 2 shots to clear out these Banelings unless he's very, very careful with the shots. So we'll see how the splash damage is. It's all going to come down to Ziggy's target fire here. Tank gets 1 shot, 2 shots. There it is, but the Banelings do get in and break down that wall. Ziggy heavily supply blocked now, and the Link's going to flood in, Grant.
Yeah, but I think there's enough here. There's Marines in a decent concave. There's a tank offering a lot of support as long as he fires correctly. Even a couple of SCVs coming off the line. A second tank will come. 1 Marine standing strong, left to tell the tale. And Ziggy takes really only 5 SCV damage. He's at 52 to 27, Creighton.
Grant, if you want to lose all of our Zerg viewing audience right now, I dare you to press Shift-I and show what that income graph looks like.
I don't have it enabled.
Oh, that's right, you don't. You got to play with the game heart, man.
I know.
Anyway, really interesting build here from a really interesting income graph from Ziggy, who's now 1,300 resources per minute ahead of Denver. 54 CVs to just 40 drones, and all those drones coming in the last couple minutes or last couple seconds of this game even. Now, Grant, Denver going for Evo Chamber behind this, and not just one, but both Evo Chambers behind this. Do you like this play from Denver, or is he investing too much in his infrastructure right now, leaving himself open to a counterattack from Ziggy?
I don't think he has any choice. He really doesn't. He tried to break in with a Baneling attack, but the tank was there, and the second tank popped in time alongside a little bit of bio to hold it. There's nothing else Denver could do. He could throw another wave of Banelings, but there were 2 tanks, which he did get the opportunity to see. He has to try and macro now. It's his only option, and he is going to cut corners. He has done nothing but make drones for ages now to try and catch up, to try and get into the 60s. He's still behind in income, not by quite as much, but Ziggy is having a field day. This is where he is comfortable. Now, the one thing is, Ziggy is known as a Reaper player. He's known as an early game player. Can he close is a different matter. Can he feel confident? Does he know how good a position he is in? He's getting everything he needs to build a scary mech army here. But it's still very difficult to do.
Now, Grant, we haven't seen a whole lot of maps on Lightshade yet, and I know that seems silly when we have been literally casting games in the new map pool for a month now. I'm sure my Lightshade games are probably up to at least 100 just to watch. But that, like, realistically, that's not as many. And think about the maybe 1,000 games you've seen now on Pillars of Gold or Death Aura, for God's sake. So as far as talking about maps go, we don't know quite as much about Lightshade as we do about Pillars of Gold. The map is less solved, and one of the reasons that makes StarCraft so great when compared to other big competitive esports like Rocket League or League of Legends is that the maps are different, and it's another factor that the players have to weigh in. Grant, have you seen enough games on Lightshade to talk to us a little bit about how mech plays on this map versus how a more standard bio style might play for a player like Ziggy?
Yeah, Lightshade's a little odd for mech. I don't hate it by any means. This is a nice wraparound though. Sorry, Creighton, I will get into that in a moment. These Hellions getting caught. So Lightshade has sort of different phases of the map. It has wide open low ground areas and tight corridors of high ground. And anywhere where there's tight corridors, mech love, because mech doesn't want to get surrounded. Mech wants to siege up in a place where it can prevent being swarmed on. But any area where it's very wide open, it's a little bit more difficult for mech. It allows for run-bys and things like that, which mech is notoriously struggles a little bit more than bio to deal with. So it's going to be difficult. I think the main thing for Ziggy is he needs to get to the other side of the map when he's comfortable and find a position that he can hold and improve on. For now, he is really, really powering up on macro. You can see he's getting every upgrade that he can. Blue Flame is on the way. He's getting falls. He's getting two ship weapons and armor. Adding on plenty of factories. This is a very aggressive style of mech. And here we go. This is the move out that I was waiting for. He has a very scale. I mean, it's 86 to 38 army supply of heavily upgraded mech right now. This is very...
Jesus.
Denver's in...
Grant, look, punch A, Grant, and just look at the army value right now.
There we go.
Denver's army has 150 gas in it.
Yeah. Like
to the almost 2,000 from Ziggy, 1850 from Ziggy. And it's just banelings. He is adding on 10 more banelings, which is nice, but Grant, I don't think Thors and tanks care too terrible much. Plus Blue Flame Hellions, a little handful of bio here. Really nice composition. Now, there is a good Ling run by here in the third base. We'll take a couple banelings go down, but honestly, Ziggy, I think, is happy to sacrifice some more of his income, or some more of his economy at this point. He's setting up for a game-ending push now. This does put a bit of pressure on Ziggy to absolutely win with this push, but I think that was his goal all along. This push never intended just to, like, soften up Denver a little bit. This push intended to straight up murder a Zerg, and I think, Grant, he still has a good chance of doing that. Yeah,
Roaches and Ravages being made right now, but guess what? There's no upgrades for them. The upgrades are purely in melee, because Denver expected to be playing Ling Bane, and he can't do that against this army. Queens have no upgrades apart from the armor. As soon as these tanks get in range, the tank's very far away right now. Here we go, now moving forward a little bit. There's just no way, I think, for Denver to push this back. He's doing a pretty good job of keeping the fight very split, very far away. None of the units able to hug one another, and Bile's coming down on top of some of these tanks. But look at what's walking across the map here. More tanks, more force, which destroy Roaches. And I think, unfortunately for Denver, there is the G, and Ziggy gets a map win. It doesn't fall, it was Summer, so this would be the first win since DreamHack Summer for Ziggy if he can take the series. But for now, his opponent in the southwest of Juggernaut, he is the Blue Zerg player with a personal sponsorship from Coca. What's his team name, Creighton Olsen?
Coca Authentica Papite.
It is Denver. That was teamwork.
Grant, we are so bleeping pro. We are unbelievably good.
Yeah, we are.
Man. Spawning in the top right-hand side in the red, it is our Polish Terran player looking to close out this series for his first match win ever in the ESL DreamHack events since the beginning of the year. It is Ziggy.
Hatchery first, Creighton Olsen.
Wow. Wow. Denver. Bold plays. Bold plays here. It's a hatch gas pool, Grant. Man, you love to see it. You love to see it.
I mean, as a Ziggy fan, you certainly do, because he is doing the same thing again here. He is going for multiple racks. 3 racks Reaper is traditionally how it will start off with. Sometimes more racks being added, or it really... This amount of Reapers can stand and fight Lings very effectively. One thing Ziggy hasn't done is he's never jumped into the main this time, which means he hasn't got quite as much information. A little bit more difficult here on Juggernaut to do so. And Denver's drone count actually isn't as far behind as it was the last time. Denver's not going to be moving into a mid-game as behind. He is now starting to get his Roach War in and power out. This is a nice fight here, looking at things for Denver. Let's take a look at resources lost. You can see here, Denver has lost more, 31, make that 32 units. But they are mainly Lings, 5 Reapers going down. I think we'll be moving into a game, but I mean, this base is getting low.
Yeah, this reminds me of early game ZVZ, where you're like, okay, the Zerg didn't run by, didn't do anything, didn't kill any drones or anything, and then you look at the third base and you go, oh, but he's got a third health left on his third base, making him a very attractive target for later in the game. But you're absolutely correct earlier, Grant, when you said Denver is not that far behind in drones. Last game, the Reapers were able to pick off a significant number of drones by bouncing into the main, bouncing into the natural, and being a bit more aggressive. Sure, Ziggy lost more Reapers, but he was able to get that crippling economic damage done that really started to sort of nail the lid onto that coffin for Denver last game. This game, though, he's feeling confident enough to get not just Roach speed off this Lair tech, but a very quick Spire relative to his opener here. So Spire could be a bit concerning for Ziggy, who is going mech yet again. But if he cranks out nothing but tanks and Hellions, I don't know if you know this, Grant. I'm going to drop some really impressive StarCraft.
Wait, Creighton, we've been working together a long time now. I think I can read your mind. Are you ready for this?
Oh, please tell me. What am I going to say?
Tanks and Hellions can't shoot up.
You nailed it. That's absolutely right.
I knew it.
And you know what else can shoot up our Reapers that are dead.
Yeah.
Cleanup of the Reapers here by Denver, but he did sack 7 drones to get there. So that means the drone and SCV count even. Grant, I'm still going to give a mild advantage here to Denver.
Yeah, I think so. The first CC is up for Ziggy, and of course he has Mule, so economically he's not going to be too far behind. I guess the good thing here for Ziggy is that he has begun forward production and has his first couple already on the way. In terms of units, we can see now that he has a couple of tanks, not too many, a little bit of bio left over. It looks like Denver, though, is really going to meet this sort of economy with a very strong economy of his own. Just kidding, there's a Nidus Worm. So, okay, he is now going to try and abuse the fact that the Terran mech army won't be too active on the map. It's typically going to move together and a little bit slower. And having that Nidus Worm could be nice. He is losing his Overlord, the only Overlord he has at the other side of the map here, actually. So, I'm not sure if this Nidus is going to be too efficient, but we do have the Lings coming in now for a surround on this floor.
Yeah, Lings are good. It's so funny that Lings are good against Thors. It just makes me so happy that like this, it's like a David and Goliath thing where 37 Lings surround that Thor. And I just love imagining the Thor pilot like desperately like machine gunning at his own shoes to be like, no, no, and getting taken down. So good Thor win there. And Grant, I don't know if you know the ratio that's efficient to trade. I think it's 10 million Lings for 1 Thor is still worth it. Something like that. So good start there. The Thor is going to be very, very important here as we see this 12 Swarm Hosts pop out for Denver, rather. We know that Swarm Host is going down in a fairly safe place, as you pointed out earlier. No way for it to get up into the main, which means these Swarm Hosts are going to do massive damage. The fewer Thors that are here, the fewer Locusts are going to get picked out of the air, and the more damage they're going to do on the ground, Grant. I really like Denver's position here. As much as I hate Swarm Hosts, I think it's a really good call.
Yeah, definitely. I to be honest, because we see this style so rarely, I didn't remember Swarm Hosts existed. No, I didn't expect it. I thought maybe he was going to go for like a quick hive and go into Brugals or something, but that's not the case. These Swarm Hosts now take complete control of the main. They can shut down the production, and this is going to put the onus now onto Ziggy. He's going to have to go, I think. He can't just sit here and allow this. One thing Swarm Hosts don't do is fight head-on too well. They're not great in between waves of Locusts. So if Ziggy can put the pressure on here, and he is now actually catching a good group of roaches with a lot of unseized tanks, I don't know if it's going to be quite enough here for the Terran to break this, as the army is mainly Hellions without Blue Flame even, and this is a lot of units going down right now for Ziggy. Denver just with a commanding lead in the game.
And Grant, we talked earlier about what the right ratio is to trade between Hellions and between Lings and Thors. Do you know what the right ratio of roaches and tanks is? It's about the same. I would gladly throw away 10 roaches to take out 1 or 2 tanks from a heavily mech'd army, and Denver's in a position where he can afford to throw away roaches like that because, as you said, so dang far ahead. Economically, Denver barely in the lead, right? Maybe 600 minerals and gas per minute. But militarily, there's no question. Denver in such a strong lead, even though a lot of his army supply is tied up in those Swarm Hosts that are sort of on and off units with the waves of Locusts that come out. It's still a really nice spot for him to be in, and he's able to just keep a lot of pressure right now. Ziggy's got to stay back home and defend against this, which is not what you want from a mech army. You want to be pressured to this side of the map. Yeah.
Or you can just leave. That works too.
Or you can be out this early. No way.
2 SCVs out this early.
Yep. And in the bottom right-hand side, in the blue, representing France, and with a sponsorship from Coca Authentica Pabit, it is Denver. Notably a big fan of American folk singer John Denver. That's where he got his name from. True facts.
Wait, really?
If you go to Denver's Twitter, he's going to say it's from some French show about a dinosaur, but he's actually lying to you. I know more about Denver's username than he does, and I'm telling you right now, he's the world's biggest John Denver fan, owns all the vinyls. Sees the SCV, and now he should know. He should know. Good scout. Good scout by Denver here. And Grant, what does Denver do now? You've seen the let me start over. You've seen the triple proxy racks. What do you do as Denver to hold?
Pull a bunch of workers, which is exactly what he's done. He is going to stop at least one of these from getting up. Most likely 2 should not be able to complete their building here, as the SCVs will go down. More SCVs will need to be sent across the map, and that is exactly what is happening here. So only 1 Marine in production at a time right now. That's fine here for Denver, because his pool is on the way. He's buying himself a lot of time, and time is of the essence. It is the one resource that Denver needs right now, because ultimately, if he can get time for his pool, get time for Queens, stop bunkers going up as well, this becomes a considerably easier hold as time goes on.
Yeah, that slowdown cannot be overstated. So good, because I'm sure Denver did go for that hatch gas pool opener, I believe, Grant.
Yep.
So very standard stuff out of Denver. And pardon me, first bunker does go down. How many lings does Denver need? Is 4 enough?
No.
Pardon me, is 4 enough? And is 1 spine crawler going to be enough?
The spine is nice. He needs to bring drones with us, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. He's going to focus the Marines for now, probably have the lings take down that SCV. That's going to be the case. Going to target the bunker. 1 SCV does go down. Second one will follow. Did the bunker complete? It looked very close for a moment now.
No.
Okay, now the drones can retreat, and now there are enough lings here. With the spine about to finish, the spine can reposition further forward. It does outrange the bunker, and that's going to mean, unfortunately for Ziggy, he's so far away from actually doing damage. Denver comfortable enough even droning now.
Oh man, yeah, this reeks of desperation right now, Grant. Ziggy really going hardcore with the Marine push. Obviously, when you go Reapers on triple proxy racks, there's a little bit more mobility, there's a little bit more chance at, lose another SCV, cancels a second bunker. Obviously, that second bunker, a very desperate push from Ziggy, and losing even that bunker so far off creep is really rough. A couple SCVs have been pulled. I'm not surprised that Ziggy hasn't already pulled all of his SCVs across the map now. Last-ditch effort here, but does Denver have enough? As you said, feeling confident enough to drone a little bit behind this. That may have been a bit of hubris, but I think he'll be all right. What do you think, Grant?
His spine will fall down, but there's a lot of drones fighting here. They kill all the SCVs first of all. There's not too many lings left, and there is still Marines out. 3 still being produced at a time. If he can catch another queen, maybe this would be a different matter, but there is another spine crawler in that second spine, showing that Denver does not suffer from the hubris of his opponent. And yeah, the spine now too much. That long neck is going to punish these Marines all day long. GG, Denver takes the series.